Hey there. Hey there, and welcome to this session, Solving Tactics on ChessTempo.com, the advocate. Today we're doing tactics from 1800 to 1900. Just remember that while you're watching this video, you should be waiting for the new tactics problem to arrive. Pause the video, then just don't listen to me ramble on, with my shitty microphone and like staring at my mug. No, man. Pause the tactic, solve it yourself, and if you need some assistance, if you want to, watch someone else feel stupid so that way you don't feel stupid, then listen to me solve the tactic or whatever. But otherwise, just hit your forward arrow 5 seconds, boom, 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 boom. So that way you can sort of just sort of accelerate your own learning and sort of solve the tactics as if you were the one with the premium account on chesstempo.com, for example. All right, let's go ahead and get started. Yeah. Turn the volume down a bit. Yeah. Um. Unfortunately, rook e8 doesn't work yet. If I play rook e8 and the immediate rook takes d5, rook e1 doesn't work because of knight takes e1. I do need to protect this bishop, though, somehow. So rook d8, and the only way for him to continue the pressure is queen b3. But then I can just take on c4. Because if rook takes... Wait, no, rook takes b8. So rook d8, queen b3, bishop takes, rook takes, rook takes. There's rook takes d8 check. Balls. Rook d8, queen b3. Then what? Rook d8, queen b3, bishop takes, rook takes, rook takes. I have a rook and a bishop, and I'm threatening mate. There's queen takes, rook check, queen f1, rook takes for material equality. Two minors on a rook against two minors and a rook. rook d8, queen b3, bishop takes, rook takes, and if queen b4, b5, queen c2. That is one way to get two pieces for the rook, or I'm sorry, two pieces for the queen, rather than losing a full piece. I think I might be missing a move there. Uh, rook d8, queen b3, bishop takes, rook takes, rook takes. My queen is, his queen is here. The immediate queen c2 or queen a4. Bishop e2, bishop b2, and everything is safe. I could win the exchange, I guess. Rook d8, queen b3, bishop takes, rook takes, queen c2. Bishop takes c3, rook b1, bishop d3. If queen takes c1, rook takes b1 wins the exchange. So that's two pieces and the exchange for the queen. I just don't see any way to defend the bishop. I'm certain there was some clever. Okay. We have two rooks and three minors, so I just have a rook and a minor for the queen. This wasn't better? To play rook d8, queen b3, and then bishop takes. So this was my line. Bishop takes, threatening mate, so queen can't take. Queen c2, bishop takes, hitting the rook. If queen takes, no, if queen takes, there's rook check, knight here, and I'm not winning anymore. I'm not winning the exchange anymore. But still, this is the exact same. Someone tagged this as unpinning. It's clearly not unpinning. This doesn't seem like a good move. Just gonna be honest. Like, I'm not a good move, but a good problem. threatening to win the knight for free. So pawn takes, knight takes, rook takes, queen takes, queen h4 check, king g7. Queen h3 check, and then at the end of it I pick up on d7. Pawn takes, queen takes, queen check. Pawn takes, knight takes, rook takes, queen takes. Queen check. He is on my knight. Queen check. King g7 forced. Queen g3 check. King h6. King h6, queen g6 mates. So queen g6, king f7, queen check. Maybe it's a lot more dangerous than I thought. Pawn takes, knight takes. Now pawn takes. Pawn takes. My laptop's gonna die. It looks like. Pawn takes. Knight takes, not forced. Also, does this pin really work? Because it's also pinned to the queen. So I could just play knight takes d7 directly, threatening queen h4 check. Knight takes d7. If pawn takes, rook takes e7. If rook takes, queen takes rook. So this is not actually a real threat. But knight takes, queen h4 check, that could be a real threat. Queen h4 check, king g7 forced. Queen check. King f7, queen check. King e7. And then knight g6 picking up one of the pieces, one of the rooks. Or just queen g6 and then knight g7 directly. Knight g6 directly, forking. So knight d7, queen check, king g7, queen check, king f7. Queen check, king e7, queen check, king d8. Okay, and this is easy enough. So queen d7, queen h4 check, king g7, queen g6 check, king f, queen check, king e, and this is actually where I stopped calculating. Just because everything seemed so strong. Maybe I should give it some more attention though. Like, should I be playing knight check here first? Then I could play pawn takes, threatening e6. Knight takes d5, most common mistake. Yeah, whatever. Common mistakes, blah, 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 blah. I don't know if I should really continue doing some of that. I really need some actual subscribers on my channel to get like some actual feedback. So that way I could know if anybody actually cares about common mistakes. Um, fuck me, right? So queen f8 is a really dumb move. So my two moves in this position are king g7 and king f7. Now if king g7, that would allow queen h8 check, king f7, and queen h7, getting the queens off. So king g7, queen h8 check, king f7 forced, queen h7, rook h7 check. Rook h7 check, king g6, and something like rook h3 or rook a6 cutting the king off, or just any sort of fourth rank cutoff, like for example rook h5, king g6, and then rook a5 or something, and then bring the king in. That would be winning. So queen f8 doesn't work, king g7 doesn't work, so the only move could be king f7. So king f7, queen b7 check, king back to g8. Yeah. So king g8, queen d8, king f7, and then I'm safe. Because you have to cover rook h8 mate. And I did actually calculate this in my head, so before the police come along and tell me, "Oh, you didn't calculate the whole thing in your head," I did. Boris Gelfand, John Nunn, Gelfand with the white pieces. I think that's how many problems is that? How long has this session gone? 18 minutes. Okay. All right. So we still got time. Let's do one or two more. So if rook takes a6, rook takes c6. If queen takes d6, check. Rook takes d6, rook takes a6. I'm up the exchange. But if rook b6, pawn b6, that doesn't work. So just take on d6 with check. Yeah? Take on d6 with check. Rook takes d6. Rook takes a6. He needs to move the rook away. So let's say rook d4, h3. Yeah. Anything better? There's the simple pawn takes d6 to sort of continue all of my threats. Pawn takes d6 with the idea of queen c7 check. Pawn takes d6, queen b7. Oh, that's so beautiful. Pawn takes d6, queen b7. Rook takes. Oh, it doesn't work. It doesn't work. Okay, so the idea is pawn takes d6, queen b7, rook takes, pawn takes, rook check. And if queen takes, there's queen c7 mate, but it doesn't work. But yeah, why not just take with the pawn? Pawn d6. Where's the queen gonna go? Queen c7 is forced. Now I need to get some other idea working. Pawn takes d6, queen c7. Rook takes a7 doesn't work. Rook takes b6, pawn takes b6. Can't get that to work. There's queen c7, pawn c7, king b7, rook a7. Check. Picking up on a7 and picking up on g7. That seems to win the maximum amount of material. Yeah. So now queen c7 was my idea. To pick up these two pawns, but I mean, I did win the exchange, but since like winning the exchange was already sort of built into the problem, I didn't feel that Chess Tempo was going to accept that solution since the exchange is just given to you, and you're just picking up a7 and g7. I mean, you're not. You are. You could just give up the rook, but who's going to do that? So king. I could go on a king hunt, maybe, but I have very little faith that this works. Save the pawn, control the knight. Good enough. Okay, all right, that's it for this session because I think we're at like 25, 20, yeah, we're about at 25 minutes now. So I'll go ahead and call that, make it a short session. Thank you so much for being here today. I hope that you learned, oh, this is a horrible move. That last move is horrible. You win the rook, yeah? So you do have to play king b8. Yeah, king b8 was my original one. Anyway, yeah, but king d5, horrible move. Just a random thing that I was doing. Anyway, I hope that you enjoyed that session. I hope you learned as much as I did. And until the next time, good luck with your chess journey. Bye bye for now.